Just now, we wanted to turn our attention to one of the best stories in the league season so far, and that is the success of the London Gaelic footballers. And I'm delighted to say their coach, Michael Maher, is with us this morning. Michael, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Morning, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, we're pretty good. I guess not as excited about life as you are at the moment. We were just saying, you've built a team that believes in itself to the point where they're pulling off these remarkable comeback victories in the league. There's something special brewing.
Yeah, look, they're a great group of lads. We have come back in all 3 games. I think conditions dictated a couple of the games. We were behind in them, but there's just a real good group. There's a no excuses culture amongst the group, and we've got a deep squad, something that I don't think we've had before in London. So there's massive belief there, and we're delighted with the 3 results. But look, we're very much aware that we face bigger battles ahead, and this weekend will be no different.
The backstory is really interesting. I think you got the gig just before COVID, or certainly you didn't get the opportunity to play too many games before COVID hit. Is that fair?
Yeah, we got 5 games under our belt in 2020. It'd been kind of an interrupted pre-season, and then obviously the COVID hit. So yeah, it's been very much starting from scratch, and we've got a fairly new panel put together, all told, with numbers. So yeah, look, it's been tough, but it's been a good reset as well. And lads that have been on the road with London a long time, I think it kind of made them appreciate and reevaluate how fortunate they are to be playing inter-county football, and I think that's kind of shown in the re-energised atmosphere amongst the group. So
was it easy enough to pull the squad together after COVID? Is that what your experience was, that you were kind of pushing an open door with most of the people who you were asking to join?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there was a massive hunger there. The lads we spoke to were really enthusiastic about the whole thing, and that the chance to play football at the highest level was something that really did appeal to a lot of them. So look, I guess naturally, like any inter-county scene, there were a few lads that we'd love to have in, but just couldn't make it work with other commitments. But for the huge majority, the lads we asked to come in, they came in, and look, we're reaping the rewards now.
The identity of London GAA, Michael, is really interesting. From the outside looking in, it seems that the best way for the team to succeed is when there is that strong culture of players who are living temporarily in London, but it needs to be underpinned by a base of players who are natives as well. And I guess being the first native-born manager of this team, that really taps into that identity and really, I guess, pushes that along nicely.
Definitely. Look, I think the day of like an all-Irish born team representing London is gone. I don't think there'll ever be a day when it's all London born players either. I think we're kind of trying to get the perfect balance. But like you say, like the homegrown lads will always be there, and I guess the whole COVID situation kind of did underpin that. But we were lucky, a lot of the lads that were on the panel before, they were still in London. So we've got a good blend there. We've got 10 London born boys in the extended panel of 35, which is a good number. We've got an all London-born junior team kind of underpinning the senior team, and you'd hope that every year 1 or 2 would come out of that and feed the senior squad. So there are good structures in place now, but we've got kind of a really good mix of experienced London-born lads. We've got a number of experienced London-born lads in there as well, and lads that are kind of new over from Ireland that are maybe passing through London, and they're able to add something to the group whilst they're here.
Because I think in 2013, that famous summer when London go on the run, there was only one English-born player in the squad. I think Philip Butler was the only one that year. That number has increased, and obviously you're at the helm now. So what's changed in the last decade or so?
The underage structures are getting stronger and stronger, and there's kind of more games and a better pathway for kids now. Definitely from the age of 14 upwards, there used to be a lack of games. I think that's improving, and it's something that the board are still kind of really, really focusing their efforts on to make sure that kids stay in the game from 14 onwards. There's also, look, I mentioned the London-born junior squad. That's a new initiative that came in the last 18 months. That will further strengthen the whole thing. But I just think managers, Paul Coggins obviously was there in 13 when they got to the Connacht final. Liam Gavigan had been on the London panel previous to that. A couple of lads, Sean Hickey, who's still on the London panel, had been on it previous to that. So like the door had been opened a few years before that, I'd say, to London-born lads. Kieran Dealey came after him and gave lads an opportunity. But look, we're very much we're not bringing lads in for the sake of bringing lads in. We're bringing the best players in the county in, and the 10 lads that are in there are well worthy of their place in that extended group at the moment.
How many clubs do you actually have a pick from?
There's 8 teams in the senior division, 8 in intermediate and 9 in junior. So Some of those are double ups, like Tyrconnell Gales and St Kiernan's, for instance. They've got a senior team and a junior team. So there's the guts of kind of 22, 23, 24 clubs that we have to pick from.
And in terms of the split season, is that all going to work out well for you in the long run, do you think? Or is there going to be players who maybe come over for a part of the year and go back and play with their clubs? Do you have any inkling yet about what the impact might be?
Well, to play for London, you have to have played with a club in London in the previous year's championship or a championship game. So the lads would have had to shown some level of commitment to be able to play for London in the first place. But I think the split season is a good thing all round. It means the clubs have got kind of a defined period of time where they know they're going to have access to their entire panel. But over here, the clubs are looking to get up and running at the end of March, kind of with knockout cup games. And then whenever our involvement in the championship finishes this year, hopefully we go deep into the summer, fingers crossed. But look, we'd be all back playing club league games with all players kind of guaranteed from the end of June, early July onwards, with a championship then to follow. So I think it gives clubs a chance to build their identity even further, whereas before kind of it dragged out a little bit longer. So I think it can only have benefits for the entire 32 counties that are involved. And
the other thing, obviously, that's coming in is the Tailteann Cup. Is that going to be a big opportunity for you guys to showcase deeper and hopefully have some home games in front of big crowds?
Definitely. The thing is, whatever performance you may have put up in the Connacht Championship previously, kind of you're at the lap of the gods as to who you're going to face in the qualifiers. So I think Tyrone are playing for Manor in the first round of Ulster this year, and had Tyrone suffered a disaster and lost to Fermanagh, and we lost to Leitrim. You could end up playing Tyrone away in the first round of the qualifier and face kind of a mammoth task. Whereas, look, no matter what happens in the Connacht Championship for us, win, lose or draw in those first couple of games, if we end up in the Tailteann Cup, kind of at least you've got kind of a winnable opportunity against the Division 3 or 4 team coming up. And I think that just makes it easier to keep the group motivated and kind of press things forward. Whereas before, kind of it was a toss of a coin as to who you may face. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Hopefully the Green proposal gets through at Congress as well and will give you even more games in the Championship. But I do think the Tailteann Cup for a county like ourselves will have massive benefits.
Michael, what was your own journey to end? How did you end up coaching at inter-county level with London?
I was in soccer for a long time, and then once the soccer opportunity finished with Red Hill, my club Round Towers were looking for a manager, and kind of it fell at the right time. So I got involved with them, managing the men's and ladies teams there. We had kind of good success. We improved things along the way. Kieran Dealey contacted me in 2018 for the 19 season and gave me a chance to come in as the coach, which was a wonderful learning opportunity, a great time. We had a relatively stable year. We ran Galway very close in the Connacht Championship. And then the chance came up to go for the manager's job, and look, it was something that I certainly didn't want to turn down. I was delighted to get the opportunity, and haven't looked back since then. I guess it's been a tough couple of years not being involved, but look, the chance is there now, and as I said, look, we've just really focused on doing what we can do to get this group to kind of the best of their abilities, develop them as best we can, and we've got a fantastic management team, fantastic group of players, and everyone's rowing in the same direction, which is wonderful.
Was Round Towers your club as a kid?
It was, yeah. Round Towers in football and Sean Tracy's in hurling. And
pardon my knowledge of London geography is terrible. Whereabouts in London is that? We're
South London. We're down in Mitcham, down near Carshalton in Surrey. So we're a long way south. We have long journeys for most of our games, but wonderful opportunity. We've a good club there. We've underage structure, a ladies team, men's team. Was great growing up, kind of being involved in the GA. My dad was heavily involved as well, so it's great to kind of have gone full circle now and be at the top end of it, where I'm able to kind of make an impact from the top and hopefully keep the club growing strong.
It's from the outside, it seems like a real sign of the vibrancy of the club scene, where somebody who isn't a transplant from Ireland going over to London is actually in charge. It's somebody who's come through the system their whole life and understands exactly how difficult it is to get to matches, what the other allure of the other sport is going to be, so that when you're having conversations with players, it's like you fully understand what the nuances of those conversations are, what the pull for everybody and the push for players to play is. Were you conscious of having just a deeper understanding of what the situation was than somebody who's just come over to London for 18 months, taking the gig, and is there, as everybody is in the megalopolises, for who knows how long?
Definitely. I think having grown up in London, it helps you understand the kind of the scene a little bit better. But in fairness, like Paul Coggins has been here a long time, Kieran have been here a good while before me. So neither manager was kind of like a blowing Noel Dunning before them. I think the one thing that we kind of try and do as a management team is appreciate the difficulties lads do have in London with their jobs, the distances like they do have to travel, and the kind of the awkwardness of getting to training just with the transport system here. And look, we try and be as open as possible with the players, and we ask for their commitment and flexibility. If they can't make training, that they do catch up sessions. And look, we've got a really good group of players. They rarely miss trainings. We've been very lucky in terms of the games. They've all been available work wise. So we do have a good understanding that there can be difficulties sometimes. But look, I think being London born does help to a degree. But does it have a huger impact? I don't think so. I just think whoever's in place just has to understand that lads are in a different city, and maybe their employers aren't as understanding that they need to get out on the dot of 5 to make training at 7:30 as they may do if they were at home in Ireland. But look, it's one of them things. It's just a small thing we have to get over.
I did see as well that you've made access to your games free in Ruislip throughout this National League campaign. How important is it that the next generation and that people around the community in London do see what's happening at the moment, because the team is successful right now?
Big time. The board deserve massive credit for that initiative. It was wonderful. I think there was the guts of 1,000 people in there for the Waterford game. The Mayo hurling game the week after, there was 600-700, and there was a horrendous weather conditions that day. It's fantastic, and just to see a younger generation of players coming in to watch the games is wonderful, and that's always something that I've got my eye on, that the next batch of kids coming through, the ones that may be pulling on that shirt in 15 years, they're out kind of watching today's heroes. So yeah, look, it's wonderful. It's great to have noise behind you as well. I can remember going out to watch London in the National League myself growing up as a kid, and there may have been 150, 200 people there. So it was great to see the stand full. I hope kind of we get a good following this weekend against Wexford. And yeah, look, the board deserve massive credit. They had go games on at half time, and it was lovely to see the kids out on the pitch. And I think as a kid, when you know you're getting an opportunity to play on the best ground in the county, it's just another pull to get to that game.
Was promotion a target at the start of the year, Michael? Because it's all of a sudden become a conversation now.
Definitely not, and look, it's still not a conversation within our group. We're very much living the old cliches, just game by game. And look, we're up for a big battle this weekend. I think if we get over this weekend, we've got 8 points. Then maybe you could have one eye on a league final. But at this moment in time, we're aware we've been in some very, very tight scrapes, and if we can get over this weekend, we'd be absolutely thrilled. But there was definitely no talk of promotion, and there's still no talk of promotion in the group.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck. It's a great story, Michael. Long way to continue. Thanks a million for joining us this morning. Cheers.
Thanks very much, lads. Thanks for having us on.
That's Michael Maher there, the manager of the London Footballers. It is a great story.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. Just to I definitely heard a lot, just having family over in New York, about how the next generation there are kind of taking up the mantle, and there's a lot of native players who are playing the sport, picking it up, and obviously the best athletes are going to be, I guess there'll be a lot of competition for their services when it comes to trying to get scholarship for colleges and all that sort of stuff, and it makes a lot of lucrative sense for them to not play Gaelic games. Whereas in London, maybe you don't have that problem where there isn't the whole collegiate system with athletics and all that. So maybe there's actually a bigger prospect for London to have more native players over the next little while, and that's how these teams go to the next level. They've got something that the other Division 4 teams don't have, which is a gigantic population base.
Yeah, well, you also keep seeing that the teams doing really well at Fela. If you could just get a couple of those groups to come through together at the same level. I mean, obviously Fela is not inter-county, but great players have come through that age group and had good times and experienced it, and they get to go away, and so it would be pretty amazing to see them become competitive. But the barriers are so huge. Like the journey time, it's kind of Mayo-esque trips to training for some of the players. Luke says Michael Maher, round Towers legend. I did want to ask, is it Maher or Maher? Because Johnny Marr from the Smiths was a Maher from Kildare.
Oh, really?
Miles from Athy.
There you go. I didn't know it was ever spelt Maher.
Well, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Manny and Johnny Marr's Maz lived 150 yards apart.
Right.
In Athy, and then moved to Manchester, and great music happened. So weird hearing this accent talk about GAA, says Brown. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm 31. It's one of my biggest hopes that I'd live to 100 and I'll witness a GAA World Cup. Fair play to all involved in London. Certainly keeping the flame alive. We've got to take a quick break. It is 8:21. We'll be right back at the papers after this.